Aloha, and welcome to another in our series of A Better Government. I'm State Senator Sam Slom, and I hope you join us for the next half hour because we've got a very interesting program. First of all, we want to tell you Happy New Year. I didn't think we'd make it, but we made it through to 2016. And a note for your calendar, because I know you're interested, Wednesday, January 20th is when the state legislature opens again. So on the 20th of January, that's when you take both hands, you put them on your wallet or your purse, and you hold on for dear life until the first week in May. It's going to be an interesting session. We have a lot of issues, a lot of things that you can get involved in. And if you need any help, if you want to participate and provide testimony or go to a hearing or just find out what the schedules are, then talk to or call your state representative or state senator or call my office, and we'd be very happy to walk you through it and to help you. Our door is always open. We've got a lot of things that will be coming up. We're still talking about homelessness. We're still talking about the rail. We're talking about health insurance. By the way, when you open your mail very soon, you're going to get that notice about that big increase in your premium for this year. There's a lot of other things that we're going to be talking about, taxes and so forth. Because it's an election year, some of these things will get more attention, more the issues than usual. Make sure, though, because it is an election year, come on, make sure you're registered properly to vote and that you will vote this year. It's terrible that Hawaii went from #1 in the nation in voter participation to number 50. So this is important to you. And we always talk about, oh, it's for the keiki, this is for the keiki, that. You want to take care of your children, your grandchildren, then make sure you vote. Make sure you hold all of us, our feet, accountable, okay? So that's what we're going to do in the next couple of weeks. It's going to get exciting. And as I say, if you have any questions or you need help, you want to participate, this is your state capital. So come down here. You pay for all of us down here. You pay a lot of money, too. So make sure you help us to find out where that money's going and that it's being used properly. Well, look, we got a special program today, particularly because we're an ocean state, because we have so many people that recreate in the ocean, in our waters. And yet we found out that we've had greater dangers in the last couple of years, particularly in specific areas, and particularly in my area, in East Honolulu, we've had a lot of publicity. It's not necessarily that things have gotten more dangerous, it's that the people that don't follow instructions or don't abide by the law and all of that. And that puts a strain on our friends, our neighbors, the resources, state and city and county people. And we're very pleased today to have a very special guest with us, and that is Kevin Allen. And Kevin Allen is the acting chief of ocean safety. Is that right, Kev?
Yeah, that's correct.
Good. And I understand you've been in the rescuing business for about 25 years now?
Just about 25. I started lifeguarding in 1989.
Is that right? Tell
Yeah.
us a little bit more about you and how you got involved in this area.
Well, you know, I've been a water person my whole life. And out of high school, I was going to Chaminade for school, and I got a part-time job as a lifeguard. Mm-hmm. And so doing both, you know, school and lifeguarding. Then they had a full-time hire, and they offered me full-time. I was 19 at the time and thought, wow, couldn't ask for a better job than that. So I went and I became a full-time lifeguard. I worked in Waikiki for a while, in Ala Moana, did a little bit of time on the west side, and over on the west side and the east side. Worked a little bit out on the north shore. Mm-hmm. So I've kind of gotten to go all the way around the island here.
Yeah. So 25 years later, you still happy?
You know what? It's a fantastic job.
You still a waterman?
I am. I am. Try to get in every chance I get.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about the department, the Ocean Safety Division.
Well, you know, so again, we're on the island here, so we cover beaches all the way around. You know, we have just about 170 full-time employees, mm-hmm. Another 40 part-time employees, mm-hmm. and you know
Is this men and women?
Men and women.
Yeah.
We're out on the beaches, you know, pretty much 9 to 5 every day, you know, 365 days a year. Mm-hmm. And we run around, now we've got the use of watercrafts and we have rescue teams, and you know, we're building and we're trying to keep
It's getting more technical, huh?
Very much, very much. Trying to keep people safe.
Yeah. And so you're the acting chief?
Yeah, so in August, our chief, Jim Howe, who had been there for quite some time, he retired, and I'm filling in his stead.
How's the acting coming? Are you acting very well?
I'm trying. I'm
so
trying.
This is going to be something that you want to continue to do and all?
Yes, yes. Well, you know, I'm learning quite a bit. It's kind of on the job training, so to speak. So, but you know, what I see is we're here for a purpose. We want to help keep people safe. And I mean, I've been doing that for 25 years, and yeah, I'd like to see.
So it seems like there have been more stories about either near-death experiences or people losing their lives on our waters. Is this more of a question of reporting, or are we actually having more of these incidents?
You know what? I think a lot of it is reporting, but I think also with social media nowadays, they're just showing all the beauties, and what people are trying to do is they try to get off the beaten path. You know, everybody wants to get out. They don't necessarily want to just sit in Waikiki anymore. They want to get out and see things so they can experience more. And I believe that's what's causing a lot of this is people are going on YouTube and they're seeing these beautiful places and they're seeing people enjoying these beautiful places, but they're not seeing the risk that's involved.
You know, a couple of years ago, we spent a lot of time in the legislature talking about people that were trespassing on land to go to risky hiking or climbing areas. Same thing with social media or people writing tour books or whatever, and they neglect to put in some of the warnings or the dangers. You know, we have some very interesting water spots on all islands, but particularly on Oahu. What makes the East Honolulu area more of a concern or of a danger than
well, you know, in East Honolulu we have a lot of, you know, cliffs. There's a lot of places where you go to and you can jump off the cliffs. You know, there's beautiful beaches, but there's just these areas that you kind of have to get off the beaten path to get to. And they're beautiful, but again, they're risky. You know, there's tide pools, and there's, you know, we have over near Hanama what's called the land bridge, where, you know, it's just a little piece of land that goes out to a tide pool. And the thing is you get out to these tide pools, and if you're not aware, or if the conditions change, waves can come and go right over the top, and people get into trouble that way. And that's what we're seeing a lot on the east side is, you know, people are coming to these places and they are beautiful, and they're not taking the time to see what the actual risk could be. You know, so
well, Spitting Caves has gotten a lot of publicity in recent months and all of that. What makes that unique? Well,
you know, again, you know, it's a beautiful. It's just right on the shoreline, or right on the sea. It's a nice cliff. It goes up, you know, 80, 100 feet. It looks right over Kaiwi Channel, right over the coastline there. And you know, it is a very nice place. You could go there. People go there to watch whales. They go there to watch, you know, canoe races, sailing races, sunsets, all that kind of stuff. And you know, with it being there, you know, they love it because you know, people like to jump off of it and jump into the water. You know, it's called Spitting Caves because there's a cave at the bottom, and when the current and the tide rises, it pushes into the cave and it spits water out. You know, there's a little bit of like a bay right there that people can jump into, and if it's calm, you can climb right out on the sides. It's not that hard to climb out on. I won't say it's easy, but it's not that hard. But you know, with different conditions, if there's a south swell or an east swell, or if the tide is really high, it changes what the water does. You know, and so when people hop in, they might not be aware that there's a really strong current, and the current will pull you out to sea. Or if they mistime the jump and the waves coming in, it actually throws them back up into the rock face. So it's, as much as it's very beautiful, it is very dangerous. You know?
What kind of statistics do we have, say, in the last year or two in terms
you know,
of
we've had quite a few. I will say that over the last, I want to say about 10, 15 years, we've had probably about 12 deaths out there.
And are they predominantly younger people?
You know, predominantly it's the younger group, you know, the younger group between 18 and 40, you know, just in there. And, you know, I mean, we were all young. And when I was 18, I was indestructible, you know.
I remember those days, too.
Yeah, you know, so, you know, and that's where, with situations like this, you know, Do you ban it? Do you not allow people to go there? Well, it is a beautiful place. And what we really feel is it's the education. Trying to get the word out there that, yeah, you know, it might not be as safe as you think it is. And before you go in the water, or before, watch it, you know, see what's going on. You know, what I do, I took my kids out there after one of the drownings to show them, you know.
How old are your kids?
My kids now are 15 and 17.
Okay.
I took them out when they were probably about 12, 14 years old, and there was a drowning of a young, I think, a 18-year-old. And we were driving past, so I thought, you know what, education, right?
Sure.
So I took them there, and we rambled down, and I showed them, and it was a beautiful day. And, you know, it's so beautiful that you want to be able to do this stuff. But, you know, what I explained to them is it's all about knowing your limitations.
Yeah.
So you got to sit there, and you go to a place, and even if it's beautiful, ask yourself, okay, if everything works great, this is how I'm going to get in, this is how I'm going to get out, it's nice. But you have to ask yourself, okay, what if something goes wrong? So once I jump, if I get caught in a current, what am I going to do? Where, you know, how am I going to act? Does anybody around see me? All that kind of stuff. And kind of, if you're going to do it, prepare yourself for it. Because a lot of the time with these places like Spitting Caves and other places that are out where nobody's around, you know, it's the panic that gets these people into trouble. They'll jump and make the jump, but once they get in the water, then they realize that the water is rougher than it looked from up on the top. Now, if they just can calm down and relax and not panic, help will be on the way, you know, and we will, you know, whether it's ocean safety or the fire department.
Now, where are you coming from? Because you're not really near Spitting Caves, are you?
No. So with that part of the coastline, what we do is we have our tower at Sandy Beach. We have lifeguard towers at Hanauma Bay. But if we get a call at Spitting Caves, normally what we'll do is we have 4 mobile units that are on that side of the island. One has a rescue craft attached to it. And normally our rescue craft stands by at Sandy Beach. But if they're on the road, we'll send immediately a mobile responder who will go right up to Spitting Caves and try to visualize what's going on, and in cases actually jump in with fins, tubes, and go and get to the person. While we're doing that, our rescue craft will launch either from Sandy Beach or come around to the boat ramp at Maunalua Bay and launch from there, and they'll meet each other outside.
I like the part where you're talking about taking your children, your sons there, because it's one thing to see a video or a newscast. It's another thing to actually see it, because it's different.
It is.
It's different up close. Did you allow your sons, have your sons jumped in from there?
You know what, they have not, but we walked up towards the edge and they were very skittish, should I say. But, you know, as I said, it's one of those things that as you get older, and, you know, if you get on YouTube, you can see countless videos of people doing it from all ages. And the more that people see that, the more they're going to want to try it.
Yeah.
And again, you know,
it's human nature,
it's
right?
what it is. You know, people are going to want to try it. So what I really just want to urge people is take that 5 minutes before you decide to do it. Look at the conditions, watch what's going on, make a plan just in case something was to happen. Who's going to make that call? How are you going to get help? You know, just take a little bit of time and do some planning just in case. You know.
Well, you know, the indestructibility of youth, I mean, that goes across the board for many, many other things as well. The problem is, and I've known this from my own children too, there's that day when they're not feeling 100%, but they still want to go surfing, they still want to go swimming, they want to do that. And the currents and the conditions are unrelenting, and they don't care whether you're 1 quart low or whatever, right? And that can be a sign of you know, a real problem, even though maybe you've done it dozens of times before.
Yeah, no, it's true. And you know, the ocean is unpredictable. You just don't know. You know, you could jump in and it's nice and calm and it looks great, but all of a sudden you get caught in a current and you're 100 yards off the shore. And we see that at Sandy Beach. We see it at Waimanalo.
And it happens instantaneously.
Right? Once you're in a current, you're going. Now, again, that's where if you just don't panic, the current will normally take you out a certain point and then just stop. So you ride the current out, relax, get to a point, and when it stops, then try to swim around. You know, if, again, as long as we try not to panic, buy yourself some time.
Yeah.
If something like this happens, you know, if there's people on land and the 911 gets called, we're going to get moving right away. So, you know, we'll get there as quickly as we can. So it really is just, you know, if you get into a situation where you need help, try to buy yourself as much time as possible.
We're talking to Kevin Allen, the acting director of Ocean Safety, and we're talking about some of the dangers in our local waters and some of the things that have happened recently. Is there a breakdown between visitors and local? I mean, when we're talking about people getting in trouble, is
Well,
there
you know what?
statistics?
Not really, but what it is, again, with the social media, you know, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, a place like Spitting Caves was like almost a locals only kind of a
Sure.
place, you know, because
Right.
it was, you lived here and you knew what was going on, you knew where these places were. But nowadays, with all the social media, it's just out there. People plan their trip and they type in going to Hawaii, going to Oahu, and Spitting Caves jumps up. You got to do this, you know? And so it really is bringing people out to these places that normally were really quiet. They didn't get used so much,
Yeah.
you know?
And I don't think we're making a case that's a bad thing necessarily,
No,
as
no.
long as you have the component of education that you were talking about.
Yes,
Which
yes.
is true of anything. I mean, we're proud of our natural beauty. We're proud of these very special places, and for people that come on vacations, or even people that have lived here years and years and didn't know about that, it could be a great adventure. But
Yeah.
two of the things that I've heard you emphasize more than once now. Okay, number one, don't panic, which is just good practical advice for any situation, right? Don't panic. And the second thing that you're talking about is make sure you've got a buddy or you've got somebody there,
Yeah.
right? That
Yeah.
can either help you or make sure that they call folks like you. What else would you add to that list?
Well, you know, I mean, certain times of a year, I mean, as I said, really just sitting and watching. That's what we teach a lot of in junior guards and even with our lifeguards. We teach them when you show up to any beach, even in the morning before our guards come on, they take about 10 or 15 minutes really to watch what's going on. They watch the waves, they watch the conditions, they watch where the currents are pulling, they do all of that just so that they have an idea of where the dangers are. And that's what with people coming, you know, take that time to look and really see what the dangers are. Just because it looks beautiful, you know, bears look pretty, might not be safe to go up and pet one, right?
Yeah, right,
So,
right.
yeah.
So you've got seasonal changes, which you can anticipate,
Yeah.
but every day seems to be different, right?
Every day does, you know, depending on the tides. For a lot of the water guys who, you know, go out in the water and kayak and paddle and all that,
Yeah.
it may look flat. It might be a Kona wind day where it's really light and it's glassy looking, but if the tide's coming up or down and it's a really major tide, the current's going to be pulling one way or another. You might not be able to see it so much, but, you know, it's there. So it's really, you know, just being educated and understanding what the ocean is doing.
Yeah. Do you think that our educational efforts have been sufficient over the years?
You know, we've tried in the past to put out, you know, PSAs, public safety announcements, and we're working on getting things, different public safety announcements onto airplanes and into the hotels and all of that. And, you know, we're trying our best. And, you know, with this day and age, we have a website. We've got you know, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter. We try to send that kind of information out. So, trying to reach them, trying to get to them.
You know, in past cases in other areas too, where there have been lawsuits against the state or the city and county of Honolulu, the issue of signage always comes up.
Yeah.
Do you feel that our signage that we have now is adequate or sufficient?
You know what, we talk about signs quite a bit, and you know, there is, unfortunately, putting a sign is not a replace for a lifeguard. A sign, people may read it, they may not. You know, they may walk right past it. But in situations like China Walls and with, you know, Spitting Caves, you know, you don't want to you want to keep people safe, but if you were going to really, how many signs do you put up?
Exactly.
You know, you go up and down the entire coastline and you just put signs every 10 feet. Well, it takes away the beauty. You know?
And for the people that do read them
Yeah.
and ignore them,
Yeah.
right? That's a big problem, and that's
Yeah.
you can have all the signs in the world. I still go back to the blowhole incident,
Mm-hmm.
where the young man climbed past the signs, around the
Tragic.
railing, down there, went spread eagle.
Yep.
You know, and
Yeah.
unfortunately was killed. It's stuff like this. I mean, that goes beyond just even regular risks or anything. I mean,
Yeah.
that's,
Yeah.
you know, there's no accounting for bad behavior
No.
or
No.
stupidity in all kinds of areas of life.
Yeah.
So is it fair to say, I mean, your main thrust is one of education first, so you don't have to try to pull somebody out?
Yeah, you know, we pride ourselves with the education and with prevention. You know, if we try to get to people before it's a problem.
Yeah.
You know, and so prevention is really important to us, and whether we can do it with education and, you know, again, with what happens here in Hawaii too a lot is that, you know, you have visitors and they come and they see the local kids.
Right.
You know, like Sandy Beach is a great, you know, comparison. You have all these local kids who have been there, they've grown up there, and they're body surfing and they're doing this, and you have people who are not really familiar with the ocean, and they hop in and they try to body surf and they end up breaking their neck or shoulder or back, you know, and
Sure.
and it's, of course, our locals are making it look so easy, but it just, you know.
But that's
Yeah.
preventable, isn't it?
Yeah.
But do you also have any kind of instructional classes or anything that you do?
You know what? Well, as I said, we for years we were doing a junior lifeguard program, and for different reasons we had to step away from it. But we supported the local junior guard. We kind of shifted off to private practice. You know, we support trying to get our people, our visitors, our locals, just all that the education about the ocean.
Yeah.
You know, it's such a beautiful place. We live on an island. We want people to use the ocean. We want them to get in the water. You know, we just want them to be safe doing it. And unfortunately, we can't be everywhere at the same time. So we want them to understand that if they do get into trouble, as I said, try to prepare yourself to buy yourself some time so that we can get to you as quickly as we can.
You don't battle any sharks, do you? I mean, is that
We won't. We don't battle sharks, but we will. You know what? We will try to go and chase some away with our watercraft.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily like the noise of it. So if somebody sees one, we will go out and try to get it to leave the area.
If you had your druthers, and since you're the acting chief and all that, what would you like in terms of more resources, personnel, equipment?
You know what? Like anything, with economy these days and everything being so expensive, coming to the ocean, to the beach, it's still free. So, you know, a lot of people, that's where they come to, you know, and nowadays they're trying to get out to the different areas. You know, the west side of Oahu, for example, has seen a huge increase of people coming to its beaches. And what we're looking at is we want to be able to help people in need, and, you know, personnel, watercraft, what we're trying to do is we want to be able to get to them as fast as we can to make a difference. You know?
Yeah. So we've got, would you say, growing numbers of people that are utilizing these areas and water sports, which is a good thing.
It's a good thing.
Right?
It's a good thing. And as I said, like even for the west side, you have all that development in Kapolei and Ewa Plains and everything. And well, that's the way that they're going to the beach now. And, you know, Kailua is building everywhere. We've got all of this construction going on. Kakako in Waikiki, or in Ala Moana, that's going to be a big development. And where's the beach that they're going to go to? Ala Moana. So we are seeing an increase in people all around the island.
Well, and you're certainly right. I mean, what else can you think of that's not being taxed right now? But watch out, I told you, the legislature's coming. And they're always looking for new sources of taxation or revenue and all that. But it's a family event too.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think one of the things that we've kind of danced around, we haven't talked about, you've got this responsibility for both individuals, young people, and their parents. And, you know, if more people would do what you do, I wonder how many parents have actually been down to these areas where, you know, they kiss their kids goodbye and say, yeah, have fun, or don't even know where they're going to go.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
So that would be part of it too. I mean, you've got to be responsible. You can do all the signage, you can do all the, you know, the education, you can talk about not panicking and all of that.
Yeah.
But it's a different situation when you're out there. So the best, I guess the best advice is to be prepared. As you said, I think it's really good advice. You take 10, 15 minutes before, when you get there, look over, get the lay of the land, because it is different. You can see a lot, right? You can determine a lot.
You really can, because, you know, if you show up and it's beautiful and it's just flat and calm, well, if you take a second and look and the rocks on the side are wet, well, then you know that at some point in the last 5 minutes, the water had come up that high. Yeah. So as I said, it's just those simple things to kind of take a look at and just see, you know, just give yourself, we always tell our guys, if you're going to go in the water, if you're looking at something, always find an entry point, an exit point, and another exit point, just in case.
That's good. That's good advice. I still remember my days going to the toilet bowl at Hanauma Bay and all that, and you watch everybody jump in and all that, but you don't understand how the water's coming in, water's going out, how if you're going through that area there, you can get trapped and pushed up, you know, against the rocks and all. So that's good advice, is to get as much information as you can and to look at that. What would be your parting remarks or suggestions? You
know, my suggestions is, you know, again, we want people to enjoy the ocean. That's why most people want to live here in Hawaii, is because it's an island, it's beautiful, and the ocean is beautiful, and everything that goes with it. We just want to make sure that, you know, if you've got questions about water safety, you know, get a hold of us, go see the lifeguard. But if you go to the beaches and you have any questions, see the lifeguard, talk to them. You know, that's what they're there for, to give the information, safety information. And, you know, they will, if you don't feel comfortable, they will recommend a place that you and your family, or, you know, you can enjoy and be safe at. So really, we just want to make sure that people are informed about the areas that they're going out to.
Well, that's great. Kevin, we really appreciate you taking time to be with us today, and hope this is of value to you. It should be. And get involved, get educated, enjoy the ocean, enjoy our beautiful sights, because that's really special. But be akamai, be smart about it all. So we thank you and all your team, all the things that they do. Sometimes people take you for granted, I'm sure, but we appreciate all of the many things that you can do in the information, and hopefully we will have a safer 2016.
Nice.
Aloha.
Nice.
And thank you so much for tuning into A Better Government. You have a wonderful day. Aloha.